I can do good as well, whatever tad bit that I can do.
It is very necessary to have a very frank counseling.
I think the work that we do, it's very real. You can see that it's sort of answering a very real need.
Inner satisfaction I would get only when I do something which I can start and which I can continue.
A lot of hurdles to cross if you want to sustain yourself in social space.
Every minute is a challenge for us.
My name is Nagarajan. I'm currently a professor in the Department of Chemical Engineering at IIT Madras. I'm also Dean of International and Alumni Relations at IIT Madras. The connection is actually somewhat fortuitous. I don't think I was ever inclined to be an entrepreneur per se myself. However, when I returned to IIT Madras, I got involved in the LRAMP program, which was funded by the Lemelson Foundation and co-administered by IIT Madras and Rural Innovations Network, as WILGRO was called at that time. So I was the project coordinator for LRAMP at IIT Madras. Also at IIT Madras, our class of 1981 had funded a Center for Innovation. This was during our Silver Union back in 2006. And so I have been very much involved in that center as well. And the Center for Innovation really has a very direct link to entrepreneurship in general. Since I returned to India in 2004, I had done a few projects for industry and concluded them successfully. So the Dean of Industrial Consultancy and Sponsored Research at the time, Professor Kalyan Raman, who was very much involved in social entrepreneurship, kind of tapped me when they were looking for someone to be the program coordinator for LRAMP. Not so much for my social entrepreneurship interests, but I think more for my project management skills. He just wanted somebody who could head the project and get things done. So in a sense, I kind of got dragged into it or sidetracked into it, as you might call it. And also at that time, I had a lot of involvement with alumni relations, and we have several alumni in the, again, social entrepreneurship space. So I had kind of become a little bit familiarized with that whole area by that time. So there was some convergence of interest, so I said yes, and that's kind of how I got involved early on in social entrepreneurship. And I think since then, the experience of working with the Lemelson people and with WILGRO convinced me that it is something that I should continue to stay involved in. Well, my direct interaction is primarily with the students at IIT Madras and to some extent faculty as well. Now, we are trying to provide an entrepreneurship ecosystem at IIT Madras. In my time, hardly any student would consider entrepreneurship as a career option. There was a lot of family pressure, peer pressure against doing something like that. But increasingly, I think the students are becoming a little more independent. So at IIT Madras, what we are trying to do is provide a nurturing environment so that at least the still small percentage of students who want to become entrepreneurs are not discouraged from doing so. But at the same time, I try to also point out to them that by becoming a social entrepreneur, they can continue to make money, but also do some good for society while turning a profit. There's nothing wrong with it. And I think we have a lot of role models. In fact, what I have tried to do in order to inspire the students is not just talk to them, because I don't have much credibility since I've never been a social entrepreneur, but as I was saying earlier, we do have several alumni who have made their mark as very, very successful entrepreneurs in the social space. So we have arranged a series of lectures. They're called Leadership Lecture Series, Alumni Speak, where we invite these alumni to come and talk to our students. And many of them, I would say 70 to 80% of them are entrepreneurs. And out of that, maybe 50% are social entrepreneurs. IIT Madras faculty in the past have been consumed by teaching and research, and to a lesser extent by consulting. However, very few of them in the past had really thought about becoming entrepreneurs, and they have also essentially needed some nudging in order to become more entrepreneurial in their thinking. Students tend to have a herd mentality. They like to do what they see their friends doing, and particularly what their seniors are doing. And it's also a fact that many of the students that are coming to the IITs these days come from a much poorer background compared to decades ago. Many of them are from rural areas. Many of them are first generation higher education students. And so they do have certain obligations that they need to meet. So I think it's not surprising that by the time they come to their final year, they get close to graduation, they tend to make safe choices. Here again, what we are trying to do is provide them some kind of a soft landing, so that, let's say that someone is entrepreneurially inclined, and is there something we can do for them that will encourage them to stay with that line of thinking even in their third and fourth year as they get closer to graduation. So a couple of programs that we are now just recently approved are an integrated BTech and MS in entrepreneurship, and we are now in the process of drafting an integrated BTech MBA in social entrepreneurship. The advantage of these programs is that a student can feel that they can take a couple of years to try a startup, and if it fails, they can still leave with a degree, either an MBA or an MS. So it's kind of a no-lose situation for them. Well, I think that the key thing is we need to let them find what they really like, what they're interested in, and allow them to pursue that. I think, unfortunately, our entire system, starting from school, is set up so that the students really don't have time to sit back, think, reflect, and all that. I mean, they just go from one class to the next, from one tuition class to the next, and there's hardly even breathing time for them. So my vision, I think, that is to provide a system where the students will have time and the opportunity to make good and informed decisions about their career, because they're going to be stuck with it for a long time. At the same time, we also need to let them be aware that their first career choice is not necessarily their last one. They have to be made aware that they will have an opportunity later on also to change the direction of life. And here again, we try to bring in alumni as role models, because our students tend to believe their alumni more than anybody else, because they share a common experience base and all that.